everybody, I'm back. Let me tell you, COVID is not fun. You're really sick with fever and chills and all that sort of thing. For the first 4 or 5 days, that was my experience. And then after that, for another week and a half, you're just so tired you can't do anything. So I'm finally back to where I'm feeling like I can get out and do stuff and I don't get super tired really fast. Today was the first day in 3 weeks that I haven't taken a nap in the middle of the day because I was so tired. So no, it's good. I'm starting to think about fall projects and I'm starting to think about all these things that I got to get caught up on because I haven't been taking care of the things that need to be taken care of on a regular basis because I was so out of it with COVID. So I'm getting back into the swing of things. We'll start doing some videos with projects for fall. I'm going to take you around on a quick homestead tour on this video and show you what everything looks like now that we've harvested everything. I did want to show you my fun thing that I got in the mail today. This is Joel Salatin's newest book called POLYFACE Micro. Excuse me. I'm not getting paid to endorse this. I just love Joel Salatin's stuff. Between him and Justin Rhodes and a few other people, I really have learned a ton about homesteading from these gentlemen. And this one, if you know anything about Joel Salatin, he runs a giant egg and chicken and rabbit meat production. They earn money doing that on a great big scale. And he says in his book that one of the most asked questions he gets is, how do I do this on my little piece of property? And so he created this book so that anybody from an apartment to a very large size farm production can do it the way Joel Salatin does. And I'm thrilled. I've already started reading and I've gotten in about 6 chapters and it got me thinking about some things that I want to do on our little homestead, some changes I need to make, and it makes me grateful that I followed his advice early on, where you don't make anything permanent until it's been sitting there for 6 years. And then you can make it permanent. So we're going to make some changes and do some different things with our property. So I just wanted to show you that. I was excited because I actually got a signed copy and I didn't expect that. So that's a lot of fun. Okay, so we've talked about COVID. We've talked about POLYFACE Micro. Do you want to go for a walk in the garden? All right, we had a freeze the other day, so I came out and harvested most everything that I'm going to be able to harvest. So the only things I really have left in my garden are my sunflower heads. And you can see that these have really great, oh boy, they're pokey. They're pokey, but they have really great seeds in them. So we're going to harvest those here soon and harvest the seeds out. These ones are nice and big. I pulled one out the other day and ate it. It was good. So we'll probably roast some of those. So Susie's garden ended up pretty good. I got several squash out of here. This plant died before the squash could get big enough. What else did I get? I've got a little pumpkin still growing over here. I left it on because I thought, you know, maybe we'll be able to do this. So I've got one more little pumpkin over here on the ground. And I didn't think I'd planted pumpkins over here. I think it's a sugar pie though, so I'd be thrilled if that one grew. Over here, I have this one this is my jumbo pink banana squash. It finally started getting a squash on it. And so the frost didn't take it yet. So I'm going to let that grow and see what happens. You know, and honestly, all my plants are looking okay. So I'm thinking the frost wasn't as bad as it could have been. What is it?
I I forgot what they called.
It's a tomatillo, huh?
Can I peel this one?
No. No, they need to stay in their wrappers till you go inside. But I have a whole bunch of tomatillos that I'm gonna let go here. I need to go through and harvest some of them because some of them are actually ready to harvest.
I got two that I think are ready to harvest.
So like this one is full. In fact, it's already split the shell. This one is small, but if you can find these ones that are full like that, those ones are ready to harvest. They've already started turning brown. So if they're brown and full, where the peel's coming off, like those. So I need to make me some green salsa. This is our carrot bed, which was horrible. We did actually harvest 3 carrots out of here. None of them were very long, but aren't very big. These are our tomatoes. I picked off a whole bunch of green tomatoes. I probably should have just left them. But I actually do have some other little tomatoes.
There's 2 tomatoes that are already turning red over here.
Yeah. A few little tomatoes still coming on to this cherry tomato plant. Our tomatoes did not do very good this year. So we will... honestly, it was a year to experiment. We didn't realize we were going to get such terrible soil for our yard. Got something growing in here. What is that? I think that's another cantaloupe. I did pick one cantaloupe out of here. It was really little. I haven't opened it yet. I don't know that it's ripe. I don't know. It's been really hard with the water situation. I've got ideas for next year. I harvested the honeydew I had here, but I don't think it's ripe yet either. And then over here we have these giant amaranths. I did finally get a jumbo, oh, this is a gigantic Mongolian sunflower. It's getting close to harvest. We picked a bunch of squash and pumpkins, and you can see the insects killed most of my squash and pumpkin garden. So next year, yeah, there is one in there that can probably be picked. Yeah, those are a little bit smaller. We'll probably leave them, but there's our 2 little roosters. They come to see what we're doing. They need to be fed, so I'll have to send Sammy over with some food. But so it wasn't a failure, but it wasn't a success either. So we've got things that we've got to work on in this garden over here. Up there, you can see my butterfly bushes, and they are doing fantastic. Even my little the late plant on the lilies, the day lilies, are looking pretty good. So yeah, so all this amaranth over here, and our mutant sunflower that I don't know what the deal is with that, but it's got tons of seeds in it too. So at some point we'll pick that off. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. And we'll harvest the sunflower seeds. Yeah, more. Don't do that. And pollen, yep. And then our bachelor buttons did fantastic this year. They're so pretty, and then over here we have our dahlia, which I may cover with something because in this zone they won't be perennial, and I want it to be a perennial. Yeah, isn't that pretty? Pretty dahlias. So I may put something over this bed so that my dahlias tubers survive the winter, so I don't have to replant them. I think I did get one straw flower over here.
Look at these pretty white ones.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's a straw flower. And then, oh, I have to show you these sunflowers. I can't remember what they're called. I have the packet inside.
But they're special.
But they remind me of Van Gogh sunflowers. They're so pretty. I love those.
Sunflowers.
Yeah, very special sunflowers.
This one up here was the
That one's going to seed. So, anyway, a lot of fun.
And these are good.
So the garden wasn't a huge success, but it wasn't a failure either. And that's kind of the most important part, is that every year when you plant, you learn something new about your garden so that you can work on that for the next year. So this fall, we've already got a pile of compost going up that we are going to put on our garden beds and till into the garden beds before winter. And then I want to put another layer on top so it can be breaking down. And then we'll have better soil next year. Okay, we are getting close over here, guys, to building our, I don't know if you can see these guys in there, the chickens. Yeah, honk, honk. We've moved our baby Sussexes over, and they're all just trying to find a place to roost. Anyway, so we're going to take this area. We moved the giant rock's over there now, and we are going to build a fence over there that you can see right in there. There's a piece of rebar, and you come this way about 15 feet from that piece of rebar and then down over here to the coop, and we're going to create a separate we may make it a buck area, we may make it just a breeding area. I'm still trying to decide. Maybe we'll put the baby goats in it when we're weaning for a little bit, at least the boy ones, so that they can't get into this chicken coop. Because this little man down here, is still small enough to get into that coop. Huh, Coco? You and little stinker, you get in with the chickens all the time, huh? Yeah, yeah.
I see one of the moving advertises.
Yeah. Okay. So our containers with the hay have been working really good. Our friends are working on getting their barn built, and I'm hoping they're going to move all of the feed into it for the winter so that it's easier to feed the animals in the winter. Now, we've got these two boys, and I've got them up for sale. Well, I've got Rolo up for sale, but if I can't get a buyer for him, we will be harvesting him for meat this fall. And I think we might do Stoic as well after he breeds with Lucy. We're going to breed him with Lucy. So, oh yeah, and then there's our baby. Here's our baby Sussexes. And they're so cute. Hi, baby Sussexes. Not treats. Not treats, boys. Anyways, we kind of get things ready for winter. I'm thinking over things. I'm making decisions about shelters. I'm making decisions about who's going to stay for the winter and who's got to go for the winter. If anybody's interested in my goats or chickens that I have listed, I have a website up now called cityhomestead.com, and you can go there and see what we have to offer. And we do have Bart listed there, and Coco and Rolo listed there. So here's Bart.
And look at little panda up there. Oh, he's
And Panda. Panda will be 2 months old, and we will need to move him over with the boys.
Hi, Panda!
So we're getting ready to do that. And Bart is another one that if we can't sell, we'll harvest her. She does not make enough milk for me because we've decided that she's pygmy. She might be part Nigerian dwarf, and that's why she's a little bit taller than a normal pygmy, but she's a small goat. And she's not terribly friendly, and I'm wanting friendly goats that make milk. So those hard decisions, if you're going to homestead, have to be made. And sometimes the animals make them for you. Sometimes people make them for you. Hi. I know, you guys are good kids. And then we have Lucy. Hi, Lucy. All the chickens. We gotta start going through the chickens. I've got several roosters that I need to sell or take to Payson. There's a guy in Payson that has a rooster, a rooster sanctuary, I guess. I would just harvest my roosters, except for the roosters that I need to get rid of are all bantams. And then we have our babies. Here's Daphne. Now, something we did do is we just bedded her. The lady who does it, because we had COVID, we couldn't get to her. So I bought an iron. I think we did okay. We didn't kill her, so that was good. And then we have Franklin. Now, Franklin we're going to sell. So if anybody's interested in Franklin, we'll be selling him. And this is Everett. We didn't do the boys' horns because they were too big by the time we were doing it. Their horns grew really fast. I don't know if that's a La Mancha thing or what. So we left the boys with horns, but just bedded Daphne. So anyway, but Everett we may keep. I'm trying to make decisions about the boy goats for the winter just because I like the idea of being able to breed my own. But it's also a thing where I've got to take into account feed and time and all that sort of thing. So that's where our homestead stands right now. We do have projects to build a stanchion shelter station. Right now we've got our stanchion in the garage for milking, and I really would rather have it over there where we've been doing it, where we have our pad over here. That's where I'd rather be doing it, but I need, for the winter, I need to have a sheltered space to do that. Out all put together. What else? What are you thinking about? Well, at some point in a year or two, I want to add rabbits to our homestead, and that means that one of my chicken coops, actually both of my chicken coops, will go away. Joel Salatin, in his POLYFACE Designs book, which I also have but my friends are borrowing it, has what's called a racken, and it is a place where you can keep chickens and rabbits together, and they create compost over the winter and over the year, and so you can bag up compost and sell that and have rabbits that you can raise for meat. And our yard's just big enough that I can pasture raise my rabbits and have enough place for the chickens, and it's going to provide a good place in the winter and in the summer for my chickens and my rabbits. So that's something that we're thinking about adding over where we have one of our chicken coops right now. A nicer goat shelter that's sitting up next to the racken, and be able to have a nice goat shelter and a little bit bigger run area for the goats. We are little. Our property is only a 0.28 acre, so it's not even a half acre. It's a little bit more than a quarter acre. And we have room to do this, but barely, just barely. The property behind us is for sale, but we can't afford what the guy wants for it. I haven't looked to see what he's asking right now, but I know the last time he had it listed, he was asking $400,000 for the 7 acres. And the biggest problem with that is that for developers is they could really only put about maybe 20 houses on it. the person who nearly bought it wanted to put a whole bunch of townhomes on it, which I was really glad that that fell through, because I don't want a whole bunch of townhomes right behind me. I want to be able to buy the lot. If a developer comes in and subdivides it into different lots, I want to be able to buy the lot behind me so that I can spread out my farm a little bit. So that's kind of what I'm hoping, is that somebody will buy it and that they'll do that. That they'll do it in bigger parcels rather than smaller parcels, because I really do love living in a residential agricultural area. Maybe I have just that much city in me that I don't really want to be super rural. So the front of our house is in the neighborhood, but the back is all rural, and I love that. So I'm hoping if that happens, if a developer buys it and decides to subdivide it, that they will stick with city ordinance, which means that all the lots in town or in the city limits have to be at least 10,000 square feet, which is right around a 1/4 acre. And so if we can do that, then maybe we will have the ability to buy at least 1 or 2 of the lots that are adjacent to our property, and I'll be able to spread out the goats a little bit, and maybe even start doing a little bit of permaculture and rotational grazing with my goats. That's something that fascinates me and that I'd love to do. The biggest problem with this property back here is that there's no water, so we'd have to get our own water into it, and for watering any animals that we might put back there. Something we're hoping to do this year with some friends is to buy steer calves and start raising a couple of steer calves, and over time to harvest for meat. So we need to talk to them about that. It's something that I'd like to do. And we may find that we don't want to do that at some point, but I would love to try it. Our friends have their family has property here in the area that they can graze the cows on from spring to fall, and then in the winter we'd have to help provide the feed. And so that's something that's very feasible for us to do, and we'd like to try that. I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to share with you tonight. We have family coming down. I'm hoping to have them help me with a project this weekend. So we'll have that posted on Monday, and I'm glad to be back. I hope you'll continue to join us. Like I said, we have a website now at hubcityhomestead.com. If you want to help support us, you can buy one of our animals. You can go to our merch shop, which is there's a link to that at teespring.com. We're on YouTube, of course, and we're also on Rumble. Rumble we like because there's a little bit more freedom of speech, and everything is monetized. You don't have to meet certain requirements I think there are certain requirements you have to meet, but it's not as strict as YouTube. So we'd love to have you come over there and watch us there, and help us get some numbers so that maybe we can start getting some sponsorship on Rumble and be able to help pay for some of this stuff that we're trying to do. You know, that's another one of my big goals this next year, is to really work on either making it where we are providing a certain amount of our food, as far as not having to buy chicken from the grocery store, making, you know, if we start harvesting goats, then we start making goat burger and have different cuts of goat meat rather than eating beef, because beef it's out of our price range. I have to actually save up a couple of paychecks in order to get any kind of beef because it's so expensive. That's another reason why we're talking about doing some steers and processing our own meat that way. But you know, so one of my big goals is that I've got to have these animals either providing enough of a financial relief on the food budget, or providing a financial relief monetarily, and I think it scares me a bit. I'm a little bit intimidated by that. But it's one of those things that I have to break out of my comfort zone and work it so that we can be making a little bit of money with our homestead, so that we can do these really fun things and be able to provide not only for our family. My hope is to be able to provide some for my community and people that are in need. So I will have, if you want to just donate to us, I do have a Patreon. If you don't want to do Patreon, I'm going to work on getting a donation button set up in my website at hubcityhomestead.com. And that money, all the money that is donated, goes into our homestead funds. It helps to buy food for the goats and the chickens. It helps us to buy materials for building shelters and those kinds of things that we need for raising these animals. So none of it goes to actually like paying my house bills or anything like that. It all goes towards the animals and raising them. I hope to be able to provide you with some great information on the animals. I'm going to work on improving my content for you so that you're learning something. I hope that you've enjoyed watching these baby goats. We have had a blast with the baby goats, and we'll get more video of them. We're going to be breeding Lucy this fall and have some babies in March or April again. I'm actually thinking about buying one more doe to breed this fall so that we can have two does having babies this spring. I really would like to have 4 goats in milk. Well, 2 at a time, 2 goats in milk at a time, so that we can have quite a bit of milk that we can do things with. So lots of things I want to do, and we'll get there. And Marin, she's become my milk strainer, so she runs it through the filter so we don't have goat hair in our milk, and she does a great job.
Happy second day of fall.
Happy second day of fall. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.